Remember that scene I talked to you guys about with Neo?
Yeah.
See, that's
The Matrix.
That's the Matrix. But the reality was, when he was in what was a computer simulation, he assumed that, you know, this was real. And then he realized at some point that it was all the Matrix. And that's what he could finally see. He was the one, not to get into all that part of it. But when you can look at everything from a different perspective, and that's what I get out of that, when you can look at everyone and you say, they all need care. They all need care. They're all subluxated. They're all having neurologic challenges. Their body is everybody's having trouble expressing, or innate's having trouble expressing itself and illuminating the body, right, as the main command center. When you can see that, then you're not motivated to go up to the person who hurts and say to them, hey, look, you need to be under care. Or the mother who has a child who has ear infections. How about the mom who so-called doesn't have any challenges? You follow what I'm saying? Because dis-ease starts immediately if there's any nerve interference. So who then becomes a prospect, if you will, for care? So how big is your funnel now? Do you follow what I'm saying? So I'm not trying to target this 20. I don't even, you know, I laugh at some guys when they call, you know, certainly with respect, but they talk about a demographic. My demographic is the human race. That's my demographic. So who's a potential prospect for your office?
Everybody.
Everybody. Do you follow what I'm saying? If your demographic's the human race, then every human being is a prospect. So all of a sudden you're not looking, hey, how can I specifically do this and this and this? Everybody needs care. So if you could set up some procedures, some protocols, how you're going to communicate to people and so forth, man, guess what starts to happen? You know, all of a sudden everybody is a potential person to come in the office. All right? Those are some. I'm gonna click through some of this stuff because there's no way that. There's where care should be getting. Wasn't it funny when you listen to Mr. Research, Dr. Matt McCoy, talking about what? What did he say about subluxation? Do you remember when he mentioned it kind of in a moment, but.
It kills people and it can be present from birth.
Yeah, before birth. Present from birth and before birth, meaning the child can be subluxated. If you guys ever listen to Claudia Onrig, and she talks about the position of a fetus, if they're in horizontal transverse and they start to hyperextend, if they don't turn right, they're going to get shifted, right? They're showing a lot of scoliosis is what? From abnormal positioning, posturing of the fetus, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You got 6 centers of growth within a vertebral segment, right? So what's going to happen? Certain areas aren't going to grow normally, all from that abnormal pressure. Go back to Wolff's Law, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Remember all that stuff we learned?
Yep.
Right? So the reality is, you know, they may be subluxated even before birth based upon their position. So they need care. So that is your prospect, right? That is your prospect, which means it's who? Everybody. Who needs care? Everybody. Start thinking like that. Look at it like it's the Matrix. Everybody needs care. So be equally motivated to talk to the people that don't have pain and symptoms. Well, you should really get checked. At least it creates engagement, because what are they going to say?
Yes or no.
Yes or no, but they might say what? They're going to say, well, I don't have any what?
Problems.
Exactly. And then what do you say? What is your weaponry now? What's your ammunition? What are you going to say?
I always tell them that 90% of the stimulative nervous system is
yeah, that's okay, but I'm going to give you a sniper rifle.
Pain is the last thing you feel when you have a problem.
All good, but I'm going to give you something more powerful.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you the bazooka, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so I'm out there talking, and you say, well, I don't really have any symptoms. Well, let me ask you something. Let me ask you a quick question, Randy. What's this thing right up here?
Right.
Well, how does your brain talk to your? Well, what's all this stuff?
Your organs.
Yeah. So how does your brain talk to your organs?
Your spine and your spinal cord.
Yeah. So your spine and nerves, and what's your brain send through the spine?
Signals.
Signals, right? So if your spine, your nerves are like kind of fleshy, right? So if your were you here when I was going over this yesterday? A little bit or no? Yeah. So they're kind of fleshy. So if the spine goes out of alignment and I'm doing this to the nerve, what's going to happen to those signals? Right, so let's say this is your liver, your hand's your liver, your gallbladder, whatever. How well is that going to work if I'm doing that to it?
Less than optimal.
Right, and it's probably not going to feel right away, but let's say I'm doing that for 10, 20, 30 years. Right, what's going to happen?
It becomes sick and diseased.
Yeah, which means what happens to you?
You from sick.
Yeah, do you want to have sick and diseased organs?
Absolutely.
No, so what's the best way to correct that problem?
Keep that spine moving.
Yeah, well, let me ask you a question, Randy. Do you want to do it? Do you want to wait till this gets sick and diseased and gets really bad, and then take action on care, or would you like to take the pressure off now so all those signals get through there?
Do it now.
Exactly. That's why we need to check your spine. And chances are, who would benefit from that care?
Your entire family.
Exactly. Don't you think we maybe should get them in and get checked?
Exactly.
You see how simple that is? They
Mhm.
understand it. They
That's
get it. That gives you power. That gives you ammunition. That gives you something to fire back. In a nice, kind, sweet, loving way, right? Because I understand everything you were saying, and I've used that too. They don't understand that. It doesn't mean anything to them. Well, you know, you can have 40, 70% sickness, disease, blah, 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 blah. I mean, they're not going to get that. When you say, hey, what's here, what's here, what's here, what's here? I did that with 8-year-old or 8th graders, and everybody got it. I did it with 5th graders, everybody got it. They get it. The kids are better than the adults, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't have the educated mind in the way.
Mm-hmm.
They're just coming from pure honesty and integrity, right? So that's how you get those people. Use that on your screening. Try that on your screening tomorrow. You're going to have a big autonomic thing at your screening. You're going to have that, because that's all you should have right there. That's it. Just point at that. Hey, this imbalance means what's happening down at your base. Let's say this is the nerve that comes out of there. Touch their arm. They're kind of fleshy. Do that 1,000 times tomorrow. And don't ask them. Don't ask them about setting up an appointment.
Right.
Right? You're going to say, look, I'm very concerned. I'm very concerned about what I see here. Based on that, we should get a much more thorough evaluation and take some x-rays. So I'm going to put you down tomorrow. Just assume that let them say what? No, either that time's not going to work out or whatever. If they say, no, I'm not interested, well, Randy, let me ask you a question. I mean, I'm very concerned. Are you not concerned about that? Don't you think we should at least take a closer look at that and evaluate that? I mean, then challenge them a little bit, you know, in a loving way, all right? This is a picture we showed on our Monday night.
Right.
Dr. Pete was talking about it. Pete, I never knew your staff gave you a challenge on the forcep.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that. I'm glad you shared that tonight.
It didn't last long.
Yeah, no, I know, but still, you know, and we talked about that yesterday, sabotagers, their level of certainty may not be as high as yours. So you're a little bit more courageous or a little bit more innovative or a little bit more brave to try something different, right? Who does it in their office? Who do you know use forceps and with babies and so forth in their office? Who else do you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
Who else? He's standing right in front of you.
You.
Yeah, I am, right?
Yeah.
No one shot me or killed me, right?
Sure.
No one got up and said, oh, God, I'm leaving. In fact, it's just the absolute opposite. Not only do they not get offended by it, most people do this. When I'm doing this with a baby in front of you and I'm pulling, what do you think the rest of the crowd's doing? Ooh,
yeah.
man. God, I had no idea. What do you think they're thinking?
Themselves, their kids,
Themselves and their kids.
Family, yeah.
And their grandkids. You see what I'm saying? You don't think, especially the grandparents, because they grew up in a different time when things were much more natural, not so invasive. You don't think they're thinking like, oh my God, my one child was, or my daughter's child, she was in stress and she wasn't progressing, and they gave her Pitocin, and then they used forceps or did C-section, vacuum extractor. They're thinking that. They're going to go home and talk to them. You know, and I got a lot of grandparents bringing kids in, but you got to show them these pictures. You gotta get, you want this. This is what you want. Ugh. I want that, because this isn't going to do anything. I mean, if they're doing that through your talk, right?
Forget
Shoot
about it.
yourself.
Right.
Right?
True.
You got to start yelling or doing something, right?
Wake 'em up.
So you take the baby. I take the least energized person in the crowd. I hand him the baby. I said, listen, you're going to help me out because you're the most enthusiastic of the group. I say it right to them. You know, start doing that. And they laugh, okay? And then I show them a normal MRI and I ask them, you know, what's this? It's the brain. And we try to get brain stem or certainly spinal cord. I have a model of a telephone wire. They're tough to get now.
Yeah.
But the old telephone wire with all the colored cables in it.
Right.
Because that's what your spinal cord is. That makes sense to people. And then you hold it and you turn it and you twist it and you say, what's happening to those fleshy wires? What's happening to them?
They're getting
what?
blocked. They're getting blocked.
They're getting blocked. The message are getting, right? You see what I'm saying? You have
Yeah.
to ask the question, because if not, you're just becoming Charlie Brown's teacher. What sound did she make?
Right.
You follow what I'm saying? They're going to tune you out. Usually it's so much information. You guys know it now because I'm
best friend gave me the best.